Welcome, everybody. We are very glad that you have decided to join us today to learn more about the Cindy Edelman Excellence in Teaching Fellowship. I am Warren Buck. I work with the Jacksonville Public Education Fund, and we are very pleased to be partnering with the Community Foundation to bring this amazing opportunity to Duval County teachers. We're going to have a quick but very informative webinar for you all today. We are going to be recording this and posting it on our website and through our social media. So you're going to be able to go back and see it again and share it with your friends and refer to it as you go through the process of filling out the application for this amazing opportunity. So once again, thank you very much for deciding to join us. We are going to have a pretty easy agenda today. Let me just pull up that. We are going to be using the chat box for any questions that you all have today. My colleague Stephanie Gary Garfunkel will be here helping us out, and will be answering your questions as we go through. And of course, I'm going to also be a resource today and after this through this whole process, so that if there's any questions that you have while you're going through the process, we're more than happy to share that with you anytime. So, and to answer any questions that you have. I'm a teacher at heart. I was in the classroom last year, and I am a big believer that there is no such thing as a bad question or a question too small. So please feel free to reach out about this. This is a brand new fellowship that we're very excited about, and it's one that's going to become part of the Duval County Schools culture over the years. We're really excited that this is the first year of many to come. So with that, we're going to go ahead and start just going over what the website looks like, because most of what you're going to need to do is going to be driven through this website. So I'm going to take you to jaxpath.com/Edelman, and you'll get a look at what this screen looks like. Here we go. All right, so as you're going down, let's give you a little background about the fellowship. Just mentioned again that it launched this year. And what I really want to start stressing at the beginning is this isn't your average grant opportunity or run-of-the-mill program that you're going to run across. This is to fund a dream learning experience, the kind of learning experience that changes the trajectory of your career and changes the trajectory of your school and the lives of your students. We want you to do something that's going to be truly exciting, truly innovative, truly engaging for your students, and is really going to work to up the rigor and the engagement in your classroom. As it says, you are eligible for up to $6,500 per individual, or teams of teachers are eligible for up to $10,000 for approved expenses on this fellowship. There's a little advertisement about today's webinar. I think it's also helpful at this point to just point out what this isn't. This isn't something where you're going to get your grad school work funded. This isn't something it's going to help you with just an average Duval County district training. It's something that is designed to really be something extraordinary. So, just keep that in mind as we're going through it today. I'm really excited at the end. I've done some research on some potential ideas that I want to share with you all. I'm having such a blast doing the research for this, because it's just making my creativity go absolutely crazy. And it's a whole lot of fun. So hopefully everybody on this webinar is eligible for this. You're a full-time educator in Duval County Schools, a traditional or charter school, and you're spending more than half of your time on direct classroom instructions. The one small requirement that we have is that this is not your first or second year teaching. We want to have teachers with slightly more experience applying for this opportunity. So, this is pretty much where you're going to do most of the work. We give you some links to some documents. One of those we'll visit together in just a minute. Then it just kind of walks you through the application process and shows you what you're going to need to have in mind when you're ready to go ahead and launch your application. So If you're like me, I always like to draft things out before I do an online application, just so I get in there and I'm efficient with it. But this is a really user-friendly platform that we have, and so I'll be walking you through that a little bit later, and we'll be able to show you just how easy that is. So I did want to just kind of click over here to the printer-friendly FAQs. Hopefully you've seen these in your school. We sent them out to all the principals, and hopefully they got those postcards to you and put the posters up in the workroom. But I wanted to hop over here and just highlight a couple of things. So, you know, as somebody that's led some professional development and done some teaching, the last thing I want to do is sit here and read a document to you. I trust that everybody's going to be able to read through this, and it is definitely not an authoritative list of all the questions you might have, but it's a good jumping off point. And again, I encourage you, if there's any questions that aren't answered on this or aren't answered in the webinar, reach out. We're here to help. So it kind of goes through just some of the basics, the bones of the grant. But there is one thing that three things that I really wanted to highlight. So I'm going to go down here to what types of projects are most likely to be selected. I really want to keep hammering this point home that we're looking for something that is outside of the box and something, you know, something that you really might have to do a little research on, because, you know, you don't have these kind of opportunities too often come your way. So I want to stress that we're having this in October. It's just the second day of October. The application's not due until January 10th. So please don't feel like you've got to rush through this and get this done now. Really do some digging and looking around. It's a lot of fun to do. I tend to go down that rabbit hole about once a week because I'm looking for ideas that I can put up on our Facebook page for you guys and kind of keep those creative juices going. And trust me, there's a lot more fun stuff out there than you might think at first blush. So really make sure that you're pushing your creativity, thinking innovatively, and helping to solve that, you know, opportunity myth problem. You know, increasing the student engagement in your classroom, increasing the rigor, and bringing, you know, first-person learning experience to your classroom and to your school. That's going to be a big key that the committee's looking for in these grant applications. So the second question I wanted to focus on is just down a little bit further, is this: how can I apply for the grant in a team? This is a great opportunity to work collaboratively. So yes, the money is upped a little bit because hopefully more and more people will be impacted by this possibility. So we want to stress that you can work with teachers at your school. You can work with teachers at another school in a department. You know, they're working across departments to solve problems collaboratively. There's really no maximum number of teachers that can be on a team. We just want to make sure that you're staying within the budget and everything's aligned. I do want to make sure that you submit one application as a team. Don't have 4 people with basically the same idea turning in separate grant applications. It's not going to work out, and it's going to decrease your possibilities of getting selected. So the grant, again, is super friendly, or the grant application is super friendly. You can enter all the team members' names on there, submit the one application, and we'll consider that separately. And then just the last thing I wanted to point out, we'll put this information up on the screen, but my email address is there. So make sure that you're putting that into your favorites. It's warren@jaxpef.org. I'm usually pretty quick with the email, so please don't hesitate to reach out, and I'm happy to help you out. So that's our FAQs. That's there. That's a living document. You can refer back to this at any time. It does go through a lot of the questions that you might have as you approach this. So just know that that's another resource on the website. So I want to take you back to the original JaxPef page that we started at. It's jaxpef.org/Edelman. It'll take you to the application. And what I wanted to do in this next part of the webinar is just quickly walk you through the application, give you a look at what the platform looks like, and show you how easy and user-friendly this is. It's actually is really cool. So I am going to go ahead and click open an application. And this is what the landing page looks like. We use a platform called Smarter Select that super friendly. And what I love about it is you can always go back and save, or it automatically saves your work as you go, so you don't have to worry about going in and completing it all at once. You can kind of build this out over the next couple of months while you're really putting together an amazing plan. So it's brings you through it. You just go here, create a new application, and yay, the internet is cooperating with me, so it went right there. So you're going to, I'm just going to model what it's like to do an individual application. I think that's, it's very similar to what the application for a team is. You're just filling out more personal information when you do the team application. And obviously working as a team will change some of your answers. But if you get into that team application and you have any questions, reach out to me. Hopefully by now you'll be able to start reciting my email address, because I'm repeating it so often. So we're going to start as an individual and head on in there. I'm also going to try to give you some tips along the way. Since I appreciate y'all joining us for the webinar so much, I'm going to kind of just give my own insights into what's going to make for a really successful application. So please take some notes today. The first page is pretty standard stuff. It's information about you and your school. We want to get an idea about who you are, what you're teaching, your role in the school, and how long you've been at this game. So here's going to be my first piece of advice down here on this page. So is there anything special about your current teaching role that you want us to know? So here's where you've got to start thinking this process of you're really selling yourself. I know, I've been a principal, I've been a teacher, I've started my career as a substitute teacher. So I've done a lot of things in school. And I know one thing that's amazing and wonderful about teachers is that generally you're all very humble. And you've got to put aside the humility a little bit when you're filling out this application and really show us why you're a special educator, somebody that's going to take this opportunity and make it into not just an amazing experience for you, but for those that you work with, and most importantly, those kiddos that you serve every day. So really sell yourself. Tell us what makes you a special teacher. All right. So you go through that, just clicking on to the next page. And this is where you're going to start to get into the meat of your application. Oh, actually, no, that's going to be the next page. This is just a real quick click box to make sure that you are eligible here through the certification of eligibility. Now it's going to take you into telling us a little bit about your project. All right. So you're just going to kind of give a project summary here at the start. You want to keep that short and sweet. I used to be a writing teacher, and I'm thinking about this in the context of like, this is your hook. This is your opportunity to make your first impression on the selection committee and really get them excited about reading the rest of your application. So you want to start off any essay you write with a hook that's something that's going to catch that reader's engagement. This is your opportunity to do that for your project. So really put some time and effort into this. Make sure that you're hooking your audience into the vision for what this project is going to be. So, that's kind of the what of your project. The next part is just the why, explaining how you came to this idea, how it's going to help you in your classroom, what the goals that you have for this project. Obviously you want it to transform your teaching, but also think about how it's going to transform your career and your school, your learning community. Really show that this is going to have an impact. Everybody wants to know that they're spending their money wisely, is the analogy I'm putting it. You want to make sure that you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. So the people that have generously donated, the Community Foundation really wants to see this money going to impact as many Duval County school participants as possible. So you're going to go ahead and describe the project. Again, with the writing teacher analogy, you want to provide a lot of details here. Really think of it as painting a verbal picture for the committee to make sure that you're starting to take them on your journey with you, that you're really putting a lot of information that they can see how this is going to transform you, how this is really going to help your teaching. this is your opportunity to wow them, for lack of a better term. So next, we're going to focus in a little bit on you in this application and how this project is going to fuel your professional growth and learning. This is where you're projecting a little bit into the future, trying to think, I've won, yay. Now, how is this going to help me with my personal goals? How is this going to help me with my professional learning track that I see myself on? How does this help me push our school to be a better place? And again, as much detail as possible. Then, of course, this is probably going to be a strength for just about everybody, talking about student growth and learning. We don't want to, obviously there's some basics here. It's going to help overall academic performance. It's going to help them on standardized tests. But Community Foundation really wants to see that this is going to push them to be better people. This is going to broaden their horizons. This is going to excite them about learning in a way that, a worksheet never could. We want you to be able to bring something back that's going to make your little people better people. So this is where, again, you're motivating the selection committee to really work with you. Right. Focusing on the needs of lowest performing students. This is just, it's so powerful. The studies that are out and the research that's out there about engagement and the importance of getting those lowest performing students engaged with school and feeling like they can do it. Walk us through how that's going to go. Really explain that impact that this project's going to have and how it's going to reach that audience of tough kids differently than what is normally done with our pedagogy. And then you're just walking through that same impact, thinking of it as the ripples in the pond and how the benefits are going to ripple out into the school community. What are you going to be able to do to share this project back at home with your friends here at the Jacksonville Public Education Fund, because we really want to broadcast your learning and really celebrate your learning along with you. And then also just thinking about PLC structures and those kind of things within your schools. How can this learning benefit multiple teachers across multiple years? That's really exciting to have that kind of opportunity. All right, so that's the meat of your essay. You're really bringing it home and giving a lot of detail about how you're going to do that. And the picture's almost painted for the selection committee. This is where you're going to kind of wrap up the essay. You're going to get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of it. The timeline that you expect, how you see this unfolding throughout the award process, giving the judges details about how the money is going to be at work here. We want to see that the Community Foundation really wants to see that there is this clear plan for the money to be spent very wisely and to be spent in a way that's going to maximize the learning experience. So again, deadline's not until January 10th. Take your time with this, really think it through. Submit it to friends for feedback, submit it to me for feedback. We're happy to look over these things and really provide you with as much guidance as possible. Then we're almost done wrapping up with more of the nuts and bolts of this. As my internet starts to get a little funky, watching the green. Okay, there we go. Okay. Here's where you're just providing a general overview of when you actually think you're going to do this. The awards will be handed out sometime early in March. Kind of the vision for this is that next summer, the summer of 2020, is when a lot of this would be taking place. You don't have to have every single specific date figured out just yet, but we do want to have a pretty clear idea of when you think you want to do this and how you're going to get it done. So, just start us off with some dates. Tell us where you think you're going to go. I can just get so excited when I'm looking at a fellowship application and they're asking you to list the continent that you might need to go to. How cool is that? As somebody that's filled out 100 grant applications or more in his teaching career, never seen that question asked. So that just gets me excited. I'm hoping I'm going to make really good friends with one of the winners so that you all want to take me on the trip with you. I think I was supposed to say that on record. Sorry. Okay. So we're just about done. Want to get an idea of the costs. Again, this is another thing that kind of blows my mind, filling out a grant application. They're legit asking you for the transportation type, the lodging type, participation costs. So, more detail that you can provide showing that you're really going to spend the money wisely and have an efficient plan for doing this, the better it's going to be. One thing I do want to stress, when you get down here to total fellowship expenses, don't sweat it if it's not exactly $6,500. The grant or the fellowship is up to $6,500. If you come in underneath, it's not a big deal. It's not going to be any less valid. You really want to focus on the creativity and the innovation, but we do want to see that you have a really good idea of where the money is going to go. There's also the possibility that the $6,500 or the $10,000 could be part of a larger budget. We think that's definitely a possibility. So this is where you would fill in other funding sources that you might be pulling into this. You might have some other grant that you've won. You might have, a great presence on Donors Choose or one of those crowdsourcing platforms. Or, it's also possible that you're currently one of our teachers of the year that decided to join us and that you end up being a semifinalist or a finalist, and you're able to apply some of the cash prizes that come with those prizes to be used for this as well. So this is taking care of the finances. You're going to write a brief narrative for us about how your itinerary is going to maximize the spend here. And I also want to point out this last little piece that might be easy to overlook. We've talked about really painting a picture for the judges and making sure that they really understand this. So as you're doing the research and pulling down resources that you're putting into this application, if you have some brochures or itineraries from a conference that you want to attach, this would be where you do that, and the selection committee will be able to look at that and consider that as part of the overall proposal. So just make sure not to neglect this. You don't have to put anything there, but don't shy away from it either. Okay, next step, you're just about done. You are going to turn it on to your principal now. So we want to make sure that you are aligned with your principal, that they are supportive of everything that you're doing, and this fits in with the overall larger professional development goals at your school. I can't imagine a principal that wouldn't be excited about this opportunity and wouldn't be excited about working with you as a winner of this kind of opportunity, but you just got to be proactive with that kind of communication. So they'll fill out this information here, and I'll take it from there as far as their approval of this. Then the last piece that you are doing is just a fellowship agreement. We'll take you through some checklists that you need to agree to, that you're going to make sure that you complete all the paperwork, that you are understanding that this is going to be a big deal. You're going to be celebrated. We're going to have events. We're going to put you on social media, hopefully. So we just want to make sure that you're aware of that ahead of time. One thing that's really cool about this is the Community Foundation is experts at this kind of thing. They work with generous people like Cindy Edelman all the time that want to make Duval County and Northeast Florida a better place. So they are going to provide you a ton of support when you win this fellowship, and make sure that everything goes absolutely swimmingly so that we have a wonderful experience with this. So that's the application. That's the whole thing. I think if you continue to come back to equating it as you're writing an essay and you want to put a lot of detail in there and you're really trying to sway your audience with it, that's a great way to go. So again, if you're running into any roadblocks, or if you do the team proposal and you have any questions about that specifically, feel free to chat us up right now or to reach out for any questions that you have. All right, the last part of the presentation is my favorite part of the presentation. This is where I wanted to, well, let me just do a couple of key dates before I get to the really exciting stuff. All right, so deadline is January 10th, 2020. That should say, sorry, that should be 2020. We'll notify winners in March. We expect that your project would be completed completed during the 2021 school year, and we will do this all again next fall in 2020. All right. So, a couple of ideas. First one is science at sea. Those of you that are science teachers probably have heard the name Steve Spangler. He is not just about materials for your lab. They also do professional development cruises to Alaska. My gosh, can you imagine being on a boat with a whole bunch of science teachers learning about this kind of stuff, and, erosion, displacement, and all these scientific concepts that you're witnessing in Alaska? Man, that's exciting. That's a really cool opportunity. There's also, Washington, D.C. is just such a natural. There's a million amazing museums here. And with this kind of fellowship in your pocket, not only can you go and visit these museums in Washington, D.C., but you can work with the amazing staffs that are at the Smithsonian's that love developing curriculum and developing units and lessons with teachers that you can then get primary sources from the Smithsonian at. Bring that all back to your school. That kind of learning is just transformational. And just, thinking back to those lower level learners and how they get engaged, a lot of that's going to be visual and tactile learning that they're going to be able to do through this kind of experience. Writing teachers, haven't forgot about you. There's a ton of conferences out here. This one I thought was really cool. It's a summer institute that happens in New Hampshire, where you're basically doing a retreat for a whole week, learning the finer points of not only becoming a better writer yourself, but how to do that in your classroom. So just really cool opportunity, a whole week away from Florida heat in the summer. Who doesn't want that in their life? Man. All right. And then the last one I came up with, I knew I had to throw something out there for the math teachers. And trust me, opposite of a math teacher, but doing this research again, it's really exciting. I implore you to put some time into this. The Mathematical Association of America throws these trips every year where they go to, like in this example, they went to Greece to really do an in-depth study of the history of math and the history of pedagogy, teaching math. So a trip to Greece to study a deep pedagogical understanding of the concepts that you need to teach in math. Just that, it's so amazing. And then the ability to come back to your school and share that across the district. Who doesn't want to learn about that? I mean, there's so much focus on the content knowledge that is needed to be an excellent math teacher. Boy, this is just straight up anybody's alley. That's just wonderful. All right, so that's about all I've got for you. I appreciate the couple of questions that we got today. We are recording. We're going to put this up on our social media so you can come back to it at any time. This is my contact information, the link to the website that you need. We're all over Facebook with this as well. I'm even throwing out my personal digits there so you can text me with any questions as you're going through this. And again, I just thank you for joining us, and I really want to thank Cindy Edelman and the Community Foundation for giving us the opportunity to bring this opportunity to teachers in Duval County. It's truly transformational, and it's something that we are very excited to be a part of. So thank you all. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing your applications. Have a great night.